welcome to the first September Planning Board meeting. I guess the only one we have in September. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our chair is unavailable this evening. Rich Fahn could not attend tonight's meeting, so in his absence, I will do my best to chair the meeting and run it. Before I get to correspondence, I would like to recognize our liaison from the town board, Councilman Esposito, who I asked to just update our board members and some of the public who may not be aware of the status of one of the more controversial projects that was at least before us, which is the Creative Living Navajo Fields.
Yeah, so thank you, Adam, and good to see you guys tonight. So we did have a public hearing on the Navajo Fields project, which is what everybody popularly refers to it as. After much ado and a lot of information that came out, the town board was about to rule on it on last week's meeting. And a resolution was placed on the agenda denying the project to move forward into denying the addition of that property into the overlay zone, extending the overlay zone. And at that point, the agenda was published, and we received a call from the applicant, and they decided to remove their application. So the project, the portion where we were going to decline adding it into the overlay district, we couldn't really make a ruling on it because there was nothing left to rule on once the application was pulled. And that's what ended up happening.
And thank you, Sergio. As you may know, also, there was a companion application for review of the site plan that was accompanying that particular application for inclusion in the overlay zone, and that's no longer on our agenda either. So I just thought the board, at least, and we're not aware of what happened last week, I thought it was significant that you be aware of that.
Was that withdrawn as well?
There was no formal application.
Yeah, okay.
It was on referral.
Okay.
Thank you. Under correspondence, we have a few items. Are there any comments from any of the board members or questions on those items?
None here.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to mention, I thought the letter regarding possibly taking a look at the steep slopes ordinance might be worth pursuing if we wanted to send it over to the town board.
I was thinking that might be an agenda item of our own, because
Or we could do that
we
too.
have the authority and the ability to take up matters and make recommendations and so forth back to the town board. Just for the members of the public, there was an item of correspondence today that, in our package today, that we have from one of our town councilwomen, Councilwoman Siegel, in addressing the need for a steep slope regulation in town, and proposing some ways in which to go about that and some sample legislation. And of course, our board has encountered this type of an issue frequently, and so we may have some ideas or guidance to work on. So I think that's a good idea, and we can get that going.
Especially considering some of the slopes on some of the properties we're looking at.
That's right. Thank you. Anything else under correspondence? Okay. The next item on our agenda is the approval of the August minutes, but due to the various absences today, we do not have a quorum of people who are present at that meeting today to approve those minutes. So we will table that question until the next session. Hopefully we'll have everyone from the August meeting present who can vote on that set of minutes. So now, opening the regular session of tonight's meeting, the first item on the regular session agenda is BJ's Wholesale Club. This is a request for a renewal of a special use permit at 3315 Crown Pond Road. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jocelyn Boas Espinoza. I'm the club manager for BJ's Yorktown Heights.
Just requesting a renewal on our permit for outdoor sales and displays.
And everything is the same as it has
Yeah.
been? Nothing's changing?
Nothing's changing, nothing's updating, same thing.
Okay. Questions or comments from the board?
No.
John, anything?
Nothing here.
Counselor?
Nothing from council.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the request for the extension of the
moved.
1-year, renewal of the special use permit. Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Number 4 on tonight's agenda is a continuation of a public hearing on the Toll Brothers application. This was adjourned and not closed. This is a subdivision and site plan approval together, I believe, located at 2302 and 2448 Catherine Street in the southern part of town. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Acting Chairman and members of the board. David Cooper, partner with the law firm Mazarin and Steinmetz, here representing the applicant Toll Brothers, Inc. This is an application to redevelop the property with a 118 unit active adult townhome community. With me tonight is Kevin Moses from Toll Brothers, as well as Paul Dumont from JMC, the project engineers. We are on for a continued public hearing. This is the third public hearing, or third night of the public hearing. We're happy to make a presentation, as we have done in the past, on the overall history of the project, although I know your board has heard it many, many times, and I don't see anybody new in the audience. Or we can go directly to a couple of the changes that, since the last meeting that we were before you. There are two issues that were asked of us, one related to the...
So I would suggest that you take that second course unless any of the board members feel differently. Focus in on what's different.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, although we were prepared to go through it again. So there were two issues that were asked of us at the last meeting. One was with respect to the location of the lot line, because the town board is evaluating what to do with the field home parcel. And there was a question of whether or not the lot line could be moved a little bit to accommodate some concept on that property as a boutique hotel. We'll take you through that in a second. We have identified where we can draw that line and move it a little bit to accommodate some room. So Paul can take you through that. That is sort of as far as we can move it, but that's as far as it gives you some more room on that side. And then second is the buffer disturbance, wetland buffer disturbance. There was a discussion as to whether we should move the disturbance closer or further away from a stream and closer to a wetland, or vice versa. We've landed on a little bit further away from the stream, and Paul can take you through that as well. Happy to answer any other questions. I mean, we have the BNL memo that was just issued. Looks like all of their questions have been issued. A couple of last minute items that can be completed during the building permit process, but otherwise, record in our eyes is complete, particularly from a public hearing perspective. And we do ask that the board close the public hearing after tonight. We can happy to continue working with you in work session, but we think we're moving closer and closer to kind of the goal line here. With that, I will turn it over to Paul just to take you through those two items, and then happy to talk about any other.
I have a couple of questions just that actually were based on what I saw in the minutes from the last meeting. And I think it had to do with John's analysis of what had happened before. It looked like in a prior site plan, I gather, the last approval included preservation and reuse of the field home building. Did that ever happen?
So as part of this application,
No, I want to know about that specifically. What happened?
let me answer the question, and I might be answering your question, but if I'm not, I'm happy to dive deeper. As part of this application, Toll Brothers was proposing to preserve the field home building by subdividing it out and then conveying it to the town for a small price, and
So
that is still part of this application.
okay, but
the subdivision
prior application required it to be preserved, and I gather that didn't happen. Is that
No, it's still
currently
there.
in
No,
use?
It's preserved. I
What-
mean, the
Is
building
it-
exists.
Is the building Has
Oh,
the
yeah.
preservation work been done? Is it currently used for anything?
Maybe, John, you want to address some of that history? Or,
The current existing building is still in use by the Field Foundation. They use it for offices. It's quite underused right now, but it's still in use. It's still habitable, occupiable, and being put to good use right now as we speak. The approval was a standing approval with a third component of the continuum of care, which would have been the independent living, 102 units, as I recall, independent living near the site, similar to where they are, although they're using a larger portion of the site because they have a different building type. That approval lapsed. They never built out anything. They could not get, I don't want to speculate because I would be speculating, but they were not able to continue with the project, the field home. It was, Field Home Foundation was the sponsor of that. So the approval had in it that the field home in some fashion, there may have been some demolition of parts of the building, would be retained and used in a way to be yet to be determined. So that was part of the approval. When Toll Brothers came in the first days of their discussions with us, we informed them that that was the case, that that was the history, and that we still had desire to see that the field home building was retained in some manner. So the result of that is what we are in today,
And the
which
study
is a
we saw.
subdivision which they will transfer the property to us for a nominal
$10
sum,
or
as I
whatever-
recall.
whatever's required,
I hear that some get described in different ways as time goes through, but nominal sum, and the town would be able to reuse it in a way that they found appropriate. So we're going through the process to find an adaptive reuse right now. And by the way, just a part of clarification, Mr. Cooper said that the town board is investigating the subdivision and the lot line, et cetera. You guys are doing the subdivision. So town board is investigating how to do this, but you guys are in charge of approving the subdivision
Right.
and the lot line.
When was the soccer field land set aside?
No,
The soccer field was when Glassbury Court was built. There was a soccer field on that side of the road, and as part of that approval, this existing soccer field was built, and we had a license to use it for a certain amount of time, which I believe expires next year.
anything else?
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Anything else?
That's good, thank you.
Okay,
okay, let me turn it over to Paul.
Thank you. For the record, Paul Dumont with JMC. So that was a good segue, actually. So since we were last before you, we made a resubmission. We made a couple changes to the site plans addressing some of these items. Let me zoom in on this. So one of these items that we were talking about was the property line on the south side of the site, which is adjacent to the field home building. The architect the town has engaged, Beardsley, had done some studies, and they had looked at some layouts that work for the town on the town side, and the result of that was an ask of us to relocate the subdivision line slightly, which would work better with their layout. So what this sketch shows here is the previously proposed subdivision line, which I'm highlighting with my cursor. So that was the way we had it before. And then we have the new proposed subdivision line, which I'm highlighting here. So we were able to accommodate that request, shift the subdivision line. As a result, we did have to shift several of the units, as you can see on this screen, which we're showing here. We had to just slightly rotate and shift these units to comply with the setback, but we were able to do so. And we're also maintaining the emergency access drive that is proposed there.
And is the line closest to the proposed buildings, the existing?
So the line that's
East and west?
closest to those proposed buildings is the proposed setback line. So that's the
Okay.
50-foot
Okay.
setback line based on the new property line. In addition, let me just shift here. So as David mentioned, one of the things, we actually walked through this at the last meeting. One of the things that we had changed on the plan was shifting the stormwater basin on the east side of the site. So we relocated that to the east as a result of a request, basically in order to get us a little bit further away from the intermittent water course that's on the site. So we're, what's shown on the screen is the currently proposed basin location, which kind of straddles the two wetlands and pushes us further away from the intermittent water course there. In addition, we submitted a revised wetland mitigation plan, and we addressed the Barton and LaJudas comments that we had received, the town's environmental consultant. A lot of those changes and tweaks that were made were essentially fine-tuning the wetland mitigation plan that we proposed for the site. So we worked with them on detailing specific species and native alternative plantings that they preferred, and also a invasive removal program and a wetland plug planting plan for one of the areas on the site. So there's also some tree comments and other things in there that we addressed, but most of it was just minor cleanup of the plan. So as David mentioned, we did receive an updated memo from Barton and LaJudas. I read through it. I think it's easily addressed. It's just minor coordination items at this point. So I think that's it. If anybody has any questions. Yep.
There were some, relative to the subdivision line and so forth, there were some other suggestions that the architect had made. Could you go through those as well?
Specifically with regard to, if you could just be more specific.
There was some information that was developed for some outlying cottages that would be to the east on your southern property line, the potential for that. Also, along this moved property line, the new property line that you're showing, they had suggested a roadway that was kind of straddling the lot line. So if you would just go through that for the planning board.
Sure. So I think what we have submitted is as far as we are willing to go as far as additional voluntary land contributions. So we have, I think, in very good faith, donated additional land to the town, which really what should be focused on for this property as far as its subdivision is means of egress, feasibility for stormwater, and feasibility for parking, all of which have been met by this subdivision. So of course. This, even in giving this land that we've shown here, it is a detriment to our ability to market those homes. That is our business, marketing and selling homes. So we are not only making a concession on land, but also a concession on marketing by acquiescing to this request. As far as additional land, that is not something that we can entertain at this point in time, and I wouldn't expect anything to change on that in the future.
Quick question, how is that impacting your ability to market and sell the homes?
Many things. For one, those homes are now looking, 54 through 56 are now looking out towards the street instead of that being Catherine, instead of across the street to the homes. It also diminishes our ability to effectively screen between the two properties. Everything matters to a homeowner, so everything we lose does matter to us. And furthermore, John, on your question about the roadway straddling either side of the property line, that is also something we are not able to entertain, both for marketing and for liability reasons. So I do believe that site plan can be modified. Actually, I know for a fact that site plan can be modified to accommodate an entry road for the field home parcel entirely on its own parcel.
Just clarify for me, if you would, the inability to provide good screening, and I'm not understanding what you mean about the new position of the homes relative to Catherine Street.
I got it. Yeah, so screening takes width, obviously, and dimension matters. So we've moved this property line plus or minus 30 feet closer to our homes. That's 30 less feet of buffer that one of our future residents has to a adjacent use.
Oh, so you're talking about screening between your homes?
Screening between our property and
Between your units?
not between our units, between units 59 and 57 and 54 to 56 to the field home parcel.
Well, more room would give you more room to do landscaping and screening.
To screen, correct, but
So if you achieve more width, you have more ability and flexibility. to do
more width
screening above-
in what?
Where you're laying out landscaping to do the screening from your units to the.
We have
field home.
effectively diminished the distance between our units and the property line. That effectively diminishes our capacity to screen,
Right, but there is more width from the field home to your units. So
which
on
would be taken up
so
by
on
this
the field
future
home
road,
si- On the
correct?
field home side, there's more ability for them to also screen.
Not if the roadway is immediately on your property line.
No, on the what will be the field home property.
Do I know that the field home property will adequately screen? Are we going to enter into some license agreement where
We're
we
doing the subdivision right now as we speak.
a subdivision line for a project that has not gone through seeker?
It's
I
going through
didn't
seeker right now.
No. I'm saying the field home parcel has not gone through
The
seeker.
subdivision is going through seeker right now, and part of a subdivision oftentimes is whether or not there's adequate land for screening purpose, et cetera, or even just distance between different uses.
Just one more moment.
So-
Obviously, we have a business plan that we are comfortable with, right, on a project that has gone through seeker. And I think we have every right to determine what is adequate for our business plan.
That's
I
true.
think
On the
you're-
flip
I think you're-
side, we have to consider the effect of the subdivision on the other piece of property also.
Yes, but
And
hold on,
that's
hold on.
driving some of the comments we have here.
Wait, wait,
How-
wait,
let me ask you a question. How wide is that road that is being planned?
It was proposed at 20 feet,
So half of that width is 10.
correct?
What's the width of the last two units closest to
Hold
the
on,
proposed
let me just,
property line?
before we start diving into those details, just a couple of clarifications here. The government cannot say to a landowner, you must give us more of your property just willy-nilly, right? What we're suggesting here, right, initially the offer was the first gray line. The town said to us, hey, our architect is looking at conceptual plans, didn't ask the applicant for its input, but came up with some conceptual plans, and we were asked to take a look at what could be viable here and still meet the applicant. Remember, there's only one applicant before this board right now, the applicant's goals. And so what we're showing is what in good faith they can still do. What John is asking for, what we're discussing is not only moving the property line, but then you've got to move all of the units, and now you are, for lack of a better term, messing with the entire
And the reason-
layout and project.
Why
That's-
does that
yeah.
have to happen?
What's that?
Why do all the units have to move?
Because yeah, there's a
No,
50 foot.
I understand that, but why do they have to move?
Because there's a 50-foot setback requirement.
Well, supposing that setback requirement were different.
It's not, and you're also not dealing with the reality of the project itself, right? The proposal that we're talking about, where you put bungalow units along the property line, forgetting about whether or not that's even feasible, right? That there's actually a market out there to build a boutique hotel in this location that would have bungalows, which I don't believe the town has even undertaken. But if you just put that aside for a second, and you say conceptually, will you give us more land so that we can build bungalows back there? That does impact Toll Brothers' ability to market those units. And that's something that this applicant is standing before you, the only applicant that owns the property right now, and saying we're not willing to do that. That's not part of the deal. When we went through the process with the town for two and a half years, almost 3 years, including your board, discussing this subdivision conceptually, the line was the original line shown. This is the first time in the process where the town is saying, hey, would you move the line a little bit? Toll has said we can, but this is as far as it can go. It's not worth the town wasting its time here saying, well, can we keep on moving it back and forth? That's not the proposal.
We're not asking to move it back and forth, okay?
You're right,
And
back, I'm sorry.
I
You're
think
right.
your client's goal is to subdivide this property and transfer that building to the town. And we've had discussions just in that regard for the 3 years, starting with what I just described earlier on the first several days that we had inquiries on it, which is to preserve the field home, which your client did not want to be involved with, only to the part of the project that you're proposing, which is to subdivide it off. So-
That's
And we
correct.
have
And
we
that's-
have had discussions numerous times about that the lot line is, when you were doing your rezoning, was not being looked at in detail, but that it would be during the subdivision process.
No
Okay,
question.
So this is
No
not,
question.
this
No,
is
wait,
not
John.
anything new.
John,
So-
but let's-
But
let's
your
make-
your description does not adequately describe how this was discussed over time.
Wait, listen, John, hold on. Nor does yours. At no point during the last 3 years did anybody say to us, hey, move the line further in because we want to put bungalows there, right? The first time we heard about the bungalows was last month.
That's
Okay,
not
fine,
the
fine,
right-
fine. I'll
so
give
wait,
you that. I'm
so
talking
look.
about the lot line change,
Wait,
which,
hold on.
you're
When
moving
we're-
in back and forth between the bungalows and this lot line change.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Well-
at the end of the day, what's before you is an application for a subdivision, right? We completed SECR based on the analysis of, yep, we're going to preserve the field home building. This is the amount of land that will be provided to the town, right? The town took 2.5 years studying it and said, they issued a negative declaration. There will not be a significant adverse impact based on that. The
And that
scope.
process
Wait.
acknowledged
John,
that
come on, let
that
me
lot
finish.
line was subject to review.
Yes, but the analysis is whether or not this lot is developable. It's not
Which lot?
the field home lot. The analysis is whether that's developable. You have before you already proven out that there is sufficient room for parking, sufficient room for stormwater management, sufficient room for redevelopment. The question is not before you what exactly needs to be built here and what are the options. If after the town goes through its process and eventually comes up with what they really want to develop there, they want more land from the property owner, then discuss it with the property owner then, and let's see if it's viable. That's not the application before the board right now. We've spent three months now sort of going through all the things that are going with the townhome development. Now we're suddenly moving off into a discussion about the development of the field home parcel, which is not before the board right now. The only thing that's before the board is where
Your
the lot line is drawn.
proposed project was to subdivide the property.
Which we have.
Which,
Yeah.
to subdivide the property in order that the field home could be adequately reused and retained.
Which we have, right.
Have
Yeah,
you
but-
subdivided the property already?
No, but
no,
that's
no,
what's
this is
before
not.
you. That's what's before you.
Obviously
Whether the line that's shown right now proves out that it's viable. So did the line before. But what we're saying to you is it's not viable if you're asking us to move the line any
The board
further.
will make the determination of what's proved out. This board.
Yeah, based on the
And
2
they-
years
they
of
have received a number of documents that are suggesting a number of things.
Well, no, I haven't seen any document that suggests that.
We shared with you the document of for instance, the road that straddles the lot line, as a for instance.
Right.
Okay.
And you
So
and
they
you
have those documents too.
and you have asked the applicant, hey, is that a viable strategy for you? And you've heard from the applicant, no, it's not.
I heard
So-
from the applicant that there are several reasons why it's not viable, okay? I haven't had the discussion on the board's behalf, we haven't talked about whether we can accomplish certain things within parameters that would be acceptable to you. One of the things you mentioned is you don't want responsibility for the road,
That's a piece of it, yes, sir.
okay? Another thing is that you want a certain setback from the property line to the side of the nearest buildings.
That's purely by the zone,
Pardon?
purely by the zone, what is required.
Okay. There may be some there may be some room to work on that. If it's purely by the zone, that's something that we can address. But without getting into a solution on this at the moment, let me turn back to the public hearing phase.
Yes, sir.
See if we can complete that. See if there's anyone here in the audience who wishes to comment on the latest iteration that we have before us, and then we can go forward. So, is there anyone who wishes to comment on this application from the public? Going once. Okay. I don't hear any comments, so the question then before us is, do we continue the hearing, adjourn it, close it, and move on?
Absolutely, I think we should close it.
John, any recommendations? I don't see why we would hold a public hearing at this point.
If there's no public comment, you can certainly close it. You can hold it, you
Motion to
obviously can hold
close.
it for written comment if there is somebody
Why
that
don't we do
wishes
that?
to.
Hold it open for written comment. We do that. fairly
Yeah, well, we
routinely.
always do. We
Yeah.
always written comment.
All right. So, a
I
motion,
I do have one question, which, and
go ahead.
applicant's not gonna like this comment necessarily, but seemingly those 6 units that are now getting squeezed, right? We're back to the idea of putting 10 pounds of sand into a 5-pound bag from the applicant's perspective. What about developing it as a 112 unit rather than 118?
That's look, and look, that's the point, right? Is that is not what the is before your board, nor is that an appropriate thing for the governments
Wasn't
to
this
do to
previously
say.
looked at as a 102
What?
unit?
No, no, hold on.
118.
It's 118,
This is-
and density is not governed by what's happening on the other property.
no,
It's governed by impact.
No, and I-
happy to answer this.
I'm sure you are, but I mean, you talked about the challenges with sales and marketing and so forth. It would give you the more space you need to create the environment that you want.
I
If you're
appreciate-
concerned about the homeowners, it would be going from creating more room by removing those 6 units.
I appreciate the inquiry, but that is in no way, shape, or form, in any scenario, something we would consider.
Financially, I understand that.
Just from,
Because you would do it if you were really concerned about the homeowners and what they're looking at and what they're facing and what the straining that they have.
But his concern is
whether
the end,
it's-
is to make
I
money. It is not, the end result.
I get
is that
that.
a project has to be viable and has to have enough,
Units.
potential in it so they can make a buck on it.
I get that.
They didn't get to be the biggest,
it's not just that, it's what's right or wrong. We have a secret determination on 118 units. We have already decreased density substantially, and the benefits to the town by virtue of this project are so immense. Paul, please bring up the slide one more time. Just take a quick read. We also left off of there over $55,000 to the volunteer ambulance corps as well. If that is not reason enough to close this public hearing without written comment and move this thing along, I don't know what else is. That is as convincing and as compelling of a slide as I can put up on the screen.
we always had written comment for a few days after a closed public hearing.
Yes,
I don't remember when we didn't have it.
I agree. I mean, 10 days.
So it's not unusual for us to ask for written. I mean, I'm the first guy to want to close the hearing, believe me. I'm going to bed with my grandkids will be living in this place. But anyway, make a long story short, we always have, so whether it's,
We appreciate
not
that. yes,
penalizing you
we're
for
not-
that, believe me.
Yes, we would request that you close the public hearing and to the extent.
Well,
you
I
wanna
already
do-
have a motion to
Right.
do that, okay? So the discussion continued at the request of one of our board members, which is entirely appropriate. Are there any other comments before we hit that motion?
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear on the record
Yeah.
that this subdivision application is still referencing, as closely as I can tell, a line to be determined at some point.
That's-
And I think everyone has to understand that at some point, we're gonna have to do a site plan, and then I think, some of the issues that have been raised here may well, be raised again, and I, for one, don't wanna hear that it was already taken care of in a secret analysis referencing another application, whether it be the rezone or the subdivision.
I understand.
Okay.
All right. Motion to close has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor of closing public hearing? We're gonna leave it open for how many days?
5 days.
Aye,
5
as to the subdivision, right?
What?
We're closing as to the
We
subdivision.
have two.
the-
What's the next one?
No, we have a site plan and we have a subdivision.
Yes, it's,
It's both.
yeah, it's a combined, it's
Doing,
the
you're
combined
closing on
public hearing
both issues.
and the
I
wetland.
oppose closing on a site plan.
On the site plan? The public hearing?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor of, again, the motion is to close on the public hearing, which was opened on both topics.
All of them, in wetlands as well, yep.
Okay. All in favor of closing and 5 days written comment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I am.
Nay.
Nay.
Okay. So it's 3-1.
Yeah.
Vote. So we've got that part done,
Okay,
okay? I know you would have liked to see this in June or May, but we're done now, okay? As far as that subdivision line is concerned, as far as I can say, you know, we're looking at 10 feet, perhaps, if we could move that road altogether onto the field home side and get it off of your side from liability standpoint. Part of our responsibility is to make sure that we have a viable subdivision for both sides of the subdivision, okay? And I appreciate the fact that you recognize that that initial road was very close to the field home, and it really limited the proper access and things of that sort. I think we can perhaps go forward on figuring out where that line is gonna be as we go to close out the 2 applications and work on that. What kind of ownership are these units? Are these condominium owners? So all the space surrounding the units is common ownership?
yeah, HOA.
Any other comments? Any other discussion? John, anything that we should be working on at this point?
We'll work with you on finalizing the details that were discussed tonight and any other things that need to be, you know,
One of the thoughts I had was to see if we could perhaps vary the setback. And we should see if we have any authority to do that. That might be a way around the situation.
that's possible. I think there is. We'll double check that actual language. But there is some flexibility in parts of the code for that very thing.
Okay. Any closing comments?
Look, the only thing I would say is you've heard what the applicant has said to you, and I understand we all may have differing opinions about it, but I would ask that you speak with your counsel about the propriety of the government saying, hey, we're going to take more of your property, and what that really means. The other thing is, we are not interested in reopening the secret process. We're not interested in going before another board. This,
Which board?
any other board, to the extent that you're looking at hey, how do we vary property lines that the applicant's not proposing? I don't want to belabor the point, but I do want the board and everybody in the room to understand that you don't have a willing applicant standing before you to say, we'll keep on considering where we're going to push the line. Remember where this started. This was
I understand.
this was an offer to address
I
a
understand.
concern like all of the other offers that this applicant has offered the town and the significant benefit that they're getting. I assume we're going to be back here next month to talk about it, but I just need everyone in the room to understand that.
Well, now it's time to start tying up the loose ends, you know, responding to all these things.
I have one final comment as well.
Yeah.
Just on the site plan. I am a licensed landscape architect with 15 years of experience in the trade. I have studied this site plan. I know what it means to plan a site. And I just want to make sure, and I reiterated this to the board last time. The concept plan that was developed for the field home parcel is an armchair quarterback's attempt at a concept plan for that parcel. A fine one, but it is an armchair quarterback's attempt at a concept plan. No one has decided whether a boutique hotel aligns with the comprehensive plan for this town, of which we had to align with. This project on the field home parcel of a boutique hotel has not gone through any type of market test to see if it could even be absorbed and be a viable business. It has not gone through a secret process. There are lines on a plan to show where this road has to be. By moving a few parking spaces around, that road can be entirely on that parcel. And I think it's irresponsible to say that one armchair quarterback's view of a concept plan should determine the subdivision lines for a clear and present and ready project with an applicant that has worked over 4 years to bring it to this point in time.
I appreciate your sentiment, but I don't appreciate your choice of words when discussing our responsibilities in terms of a subdivision, okay?
I by
I
no
think
means
with
meant to
discussion,
diminish your responsibilities,
I
sir. I'm
think-
only providing my
think we're gonna
perspective
proceed.
as a landscape architect.
Yeah.
And that is all.
Thank you.
All right. The next item on our agenda, I don't think this one involves a subdivision, too. AMS Yorktown Active Adult Community. This is a public hearing on property located at 800 East Main Street.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Janet Garris. I'm a partner with Del Bello, Dinellan, Weingarten, Wise &
Can hear
Whitaker.
you.
Here this evening on behalf of the applicant. Better?
Yes.
Okay, great. You may remember my face. I've been tagging it up with my partner, Mark Weingarten, who couldn't be here this evening. And as you know, we've been before you a number of times in connection with this. I can go through the history of the proposed project. As you may or may not remember, this was the subject of an environmental impact statement in connection with rezoning of this property at 800 East Main Street, formerly occupied by Contractors Register. So what's being proposed here is the demolition of the existing office buildings on the property and the redevelopment of the site with two new buildings to contain 180 units of age-restricted housing. Again, it was the subject of an environmental impact statement, probably 2.5 years worth of process. I know that you were part of that project. So we're here this evening for a public hearing. I can go through some more details with you. We have our full consulting team here this evening to answer any questions you might have. But I don't want to belabor your long evening going through the details of the project again unless you would like more detail.
Anything from the board on questions at this point?
No, no questions here.
Okay. Why don't you just go through some of the key components of the project, where it's located, you know, how it's on the existing footprint, things of that sort, and
Sure. Do you want to speak to that or?
just set the stage, and then the public,
Sure.
you know, will open up for comment.
So our planning consultant, Peter Farrell.
Hello.
Good evening. Sorry I can't make the technology work tonight, but I apologize. So Peter Farrell with AKRF. So this is the redevelopment of the former Contractors Register site, where there is currently 2 office buildings on the site surrounded by surface parking. As you know, the driveway from East Main Street up to the site goes up quite a slope, and then the 2 office buildings are actually existing at different elevations, as is the parking around the site. So after a long DEIS process with the town board as well as with your board, what came out of the originally proposed 250 units throughout the entirety of the site was 180 units in 2 buildings, roughly in the same footprint as the existing office buildings on the site, reusing the majority of the surface parking on the site and retaining the ring road around the site. The amenities to the north of the ring road, so the top left of that illustration, pickleball court, outdoor gardens, tennis courts, and other community spaces exist within an existing parking lot, except for half of the tennis court. Half the tennis court needed to be expanded a little bit, so except for that half a tennis court, everything else is within the existing developed footprint of the site. There's an extensive landscaping program throughout the site. Again, with that half a tennis court, those are the only trees in the forest that are actually coming down as part of this project. The rest of the trees are on the site. Some of them were able to be saved. Some of them need to come down and are being replanted, and we've gone through that with this board as well as the tree commission. The amenities within the site, within those 2 buildings, are lots of indoor amenities like you would expect of any upscale senior living facility, club room, fitness center, various other indoor amenities. Outdoor amenities, the outdoor amenities, I was going to go to the other side, but this is the courtyard, a plan view of the courtyard between the two buildings with several different areas. So this actually occurs, this plan view occurs at different elevations within that courtyard. There's the upper area where the pool is located, as well as outdoor grilling activities and other kind of passive uses. And then meandering down the site past that exposed rock ledge, which exists, for those of you who are able to get to the site, that exists today, and we're able to retain that feature. And then you meander down to a series of other areas where for passive recreation out there. And so it's really just this unbelievable experience within that building. And then outside of the site, we're integrating walking trail throughout the northern portion of the site. It's a little over, it's about a mile, 3/4 of a mile, throughout that exterior of the site to provide outdoor recreation. And this is, thank you, Joe, a blow up of the more active parts of the recreation, your tennis courts, pickleball courts, putting green, community gardens, pergola, which will be just kind of a very beautiful benefit. And right now, that's a surface parking lot that exists on the site. So happy to turn that around. I'm sure I forgot a lot of things. Happy to go into more detail if you want, but I think most of us have heard this a couple times. So
Questions?
happy to take your questions, comments, and listen to the public from the public hearing.
Okay.
I think I had mentioned last time, I would like to see some sort of walkway, not sidewalk, I understand the ADA problem, but something, some sort of pathway by which active adults could get to the bottom.
And so in this most recent submission, thank you very much for bringing that up, because that is something I forgot to mention. Thank you. In our most recent submission to the board, which I believe I have here, if you give me one sec. Jason, is it on your set? Oh, there it is. Okay. So this is a tree. The green and red dots are tree planting and removal. But what I want to draw your attention to is kind of in the middle of the screen. There's that serpentine walkway, and so that's going to be a 4-foot wide mowed path down the existing lawn. That follows the grade, right? So it'll meander a little bit, and it'll go through that landscaped area. So if you remember, Jason had talked a lot about the plans for kind of reconnecting the forest there and replanting those areas. And so this pathway now would kind of walk through that area to be able to get down to the grade.
It'll be a graded path?
It will be at the existing grade.
You say it would be a mowed path?
A mowed path, right. So we went back and forth thinking about other alternatives. I think the concern with a solid surface was maintenance in the winter and kind of if it would hold up in the winter and get use. And so what we thought was that a mowed path would actually be better for that type of activity. So that's what we're proposing now. And that's reflected in the most recent set.
So I just want to be clear. So you're not planning to do any grading for that path. So it will follow whatever grade is there, and potentially you could be walking on a side slope. Is that correct?
Yes. No.
No?
Hold on. This is what happens when you get not the engineer talking, you know?
Planting plan?
I had the wrong letters after my name.
For the record, I'm Jason Williams, landscape architect with SLR Consulting. Black and white planting plan. Yeah, down. Keep going. We actually added the slope percentages of it going down. And so, yeah, we want to meet existing grade as much as possible. If we didn't, it would be the most insane switchback going down,
That's all right.
like climbing
That's all right.
Everest, which wouldn't work. We would need retaining walls at the curves. Can you zoom in a little bit, Joe?
I guess I wonder why you have configured it in that squiggly serpentine manner. Is that helping to be a safer, you know, more usable, or is it?
Exactly.
Or is it not?
Coming around here, and the first thing we're at a 3.2% slope, so handy. We're trying to make it as handicap accessible
okay.
as possible. This other big length here is 12% slope, so it's a little bit steeper. But so yeah, because if people are gonna walk on it, even with hiking boots or snow boots, and there is snow down,
I'm just
don't
cons-
make it too steep.
I'm just concerned about walking on a side slope, really. I mean, are you gonna pick it up a little bit to make it a little more?
We'll have to bench it out just a tad.
That's what I'm asking, yeah. Great, thank you.
Anything else?
Nothing.
You have anything else you want to bring to our attention before we open up the hearing?
I don't believe so.
Okay. I'd now invite anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this application to step forward.
I get out and walk.
Okay. I don't see anyone. Yeah, this has been tested, for sure. Any comments or questions from the board? I have a memo from the Rec Commission, and they were talking about the fact that a lot of the recreational amenities on this site are for the benefit of the occupant, you know, the owners, the people who live there, and not to the general public. They suggested that we, as a board, consider a recreation fee contribution. I'm not sure they were aware of the one that was already proposed. There is one that is proposed by the applicant, I think is what, 225?
Right, so I don't think when we were at the Recreation Commission, we discussed numbers with them. The discussion of that number came in our letter to you, which was subsequent to our meeting with that board.
Okay.
So that's the offer that we're proposing.
Okay, thank you.
How much? How much was it?
I think it was $225,000. $225,000.
Yeah.
You know,
Probably
and
without a gun.
you know, again, there are more than $6 million in recreational
Yeah,
amenities
I
being
made a note
proposed
of it.
here.
It's in their papers.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that book.
Yeah.
It's in there. Any other questions or comments from the board? John, you have anything you want to add?
I have nothing further to.
Counselor,
Nothing from council.
why don't we make a motion, why don't we close this?
Motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next steps. Got to work the rest of this out, I guess. Not much left.
That's great. You know, I think we can continue to work with your professional staff.
Yep.
You know, toward getting to a resolution and, you know, determining what your conditions will be.
I just want to mention one thing for your thought process. Once you get down the hill on the mode path, there was discussion about whether or not there's pedestrian amenities moving from the site towards the hamlet. So that was also in the discussion, so
Okay.
I want to think about that.
And will you be working on a draft resolution for the next meeting?
Are we ready for that? I'm not sure.
But
Whether we should do a resolution, you know, work on a resolution between now and the next meeting. It's a month away, right? We only have one meeting in September. Anything that needs to be picked up on?
We should try it. Yeah.
I'd like clarification of the pedestrian walkway
Not
at
too much
bottom.
is gonna,
However, they're gonna get over to Dunkin' Donuts.
well, there'll be
That's a whole different
discussions, there'll be discussions when we review the plan further. So nothing can come up that won't come up later.
True.
So I think we should move it along.
Maybe a work session.
Yeah.
And, okay.
Also take a look at what they offered for the tree mitigation, just.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to seeing you.
Okay, motion to close the regular session, move into work
So
session.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item on our agenda is Kojari Alley, 2829 Crampon Road. This is an application to construct a 4,000 square foot two-story daycare facility located 2829 Crampon Road. This is on for further discussion.
How you doing, guys? Vincent Poggiariali?
Good
Hi.
evening, Christina Poggiari.
How are you?
Doing well. How about you guys?
Okay,
Happy Monday. So,
happy September.
yeah.
So what's the latest now on this? We've got a number of comments in our record. Have the same issues, I guess, that we've had, that we've been discussing.
Yeah.
Question is,
Yeah, we got the 19 spaces done, right?
okay,
We got the one entrance in, and we kind of talked about right in, right out, but then the
That
last,
was the biggest one,
Yeah.
I think, was whether
And then
we
you
could
wanted-
only do right in and right out.
so let's talk about that.
Well, the state basically advised already that they're not going to enforce a left-in,
Right.
They won't force it, but
Yeah.
we can
can.
do it.
Yes, you can.
Well, we can try.
Their memo said that they don't see it's necessary
Yeah.
because there's
They were
not
gonna
enough
revert
traffic.
to that,
But if
to
the
make
town wants it,
Right.
we can still do that.
Right.
Am I right?
That's correct.
Okay. So, board members, talk about it.
you have all the site plans too.
Yeah.
All the
think that was the
grading, the
biggest one,
wetlands, we
was
have
the
all that,
turn.
retaining walls,
Yeah.
curb
I think
cut,
It's just about the turn.
so just the turn is what we're talking about, is that it? Okay.
Are there any I think that's really the only other issue, right? All the technical things that
That was the issue that remained open, so
pretty
to
much
speak.
done on everything else.
So I think that light saves us a bit, right? Or you don't think so?
I'm sorry?
Traffic light right by the property. There's a traffic light right there. A traffic light.
Yeah, 132.
Yeah,
That helps.
yeah. So to me, I would think right in, right out would work, but it's up to you guys
Well,
to decide.
there were some comments from some of the neighbors that were concerned that if we force a right turn out only and someone wants to go west, they're gonna travel around the back roads to get back to that intersection at 132. I mean, that's,
I don't even, I can't, help that. I can't.
well,
Whatever the board decides, I mean, that's
yeah,
what they'll
I
do,
get it,
obviously.
I get it.
I noticed some of the comments referred to the residential nature of 202, which frankly I have a question about. Also, there is an existing nursery school in the church, which has a large parking lot as well. I don't see as big a problem, given the number of students of going out. I mean, realistically, if you're dropping off your child and going down to the schools further down the road, you're gonna go right. If you're going to the Taconic, you're gonna go right and go down Baldwin. I just don't see that being a significant issue. If somebody decides to go on a back road, they're gonna be doing the same thing that the people coming out of the school
Not an issue
over
at
there
all.
do.
So you're suggesting if we keep the right turn only,
I think it'll, in and of itself, it will.
They will just do it
beneficial.
out of convenience,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think it's going to be the problem where half the people are going left and half are going right.
It's not gonna happen.
I think most people going out of there will go right.
You'll see, they'll sign everyone up from Peekskill. I wanna go that way. Any other comments?
No, I think the best interest of the board and the client to try to close this off.
Yeah, well, the only question is, are we gonna put a condition in on the site plan for the limiting the exit?
How do you feel about that? We put a condition on, it wouldn't hurt you.
Listen, I wouldn't hurt us, no.
No.
I don't have a problem with that.
And I guarantee you, half the people will not observe right or left. They're gonna go where they wanna go.
Well, she can, she has the same clientele. It's not like she has new people every week, so she can, reiterate to them that we should, follow the rules and have to go right in, right out. But however you wanna draw that up.
We
we
put it
don't
on,
have a
we'll get it.
Just
get it
refresh my
straight.
memory, what's the peak time for your ingress?
So it's really scattered. I did submit like detailed of what my families look like right now. So I open at 6:30 a.m., but I literally have 2 children being dropped off between 6:30 and 6:45. So it's so scattered. I have children that come in anywhere from between 6:30 in the morning and 9:30 in the morning. And it's the same thing in the afternoon. It's not, some children leave at 12:30, their day is done. So it's not
Got it.
something that you get an influx of people dropping off and an influx of people in one shot picking up. It's very,
Okay.
Good.
So what do you wanna do?
I wanna help them out and pass it. What are we
No,
gonna
I
do?
mean, do you wanna add that condition?
I
Oh,
appreciate
if,
that.
if the, if the
Well, have the
client,
plan-
if
have
the-
them draw up the
if
resolution.
the applicant is
They
okay
want
with
it.
it,
whatever you
Absolutely,
guys
sir.
say.
why
we'll
should
do
we
that.
why should we try to hold you up? If you can live with it.
We have resolution, don't we? There is a draft in front of us, you know.
Does it have the right in, right out?
I don't know, let's take a
I didn't
look.
see that.
I think
Does
you
or
guys told
doesn't?
me to take it out last time, so I can put that in. I think I just had my engineer do it again tonight, if that's not there. That's not a big deal.
Take a look at the draft. There's a neg deck and there's a resolution in the material. It's not in the, so we can put it as modify plans to show number 3, we can just put in the limitation on the turn, right? Did you find it? Want to see mine?
No, that's all right. I looked at it
Right there.
before.
Let's do that. Let's do
Yeah,
that.
let's do it that way, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so,
I'm gonna move that we go back into our regular session to pass on these resolutions. Is there a motion?
motion.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, we have to do a lead agency?
Yep.
Motion to declare the planning board lead agency on this application.
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Resolution before us is to approve the site plan, the special use permit, the SWIP, and the tree permit for this application. And I would ask for a motion to accept it with the additional modifications in number 3 to show a right turn only in and out.
Agreed.
Right? Motion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
So you adopted the right turn, right in, right out only?
Yeah.
Okay.
And did we do a neg deck? We need to do a negative declaration on this too. Motion to adopt a negative declaration on the seeker.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay,
Thank you,
What's that?
thank
You
you
got
very
it.
much.
you're done.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
declaration is a good thing.
That's a good thing.
You were like, wait, what, negative?
How old do you take the
That
kids?
means that there's no adverse
How
environmental.
old do you take the children?
How old are they?
Yeah, no, when you, the
The
youngest,
children that I take,
yeah.
it's from 6 weeks to 5 years old.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a nursery too.
Can't bring my grandkids, they're too old.
They can come to after-school care.
All right, guys, thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so
Have a
much.
good
Have a
evening.
good
Thank you. You're welcome. All right. Going back, work session. We have number 7. This is a zoning board referral for VZ located at 3666 Old Crown Pond Road for a use variance to permit a 5 megawatt public utility tier 2 battery energy storage system in the zone where such use is not permitted pursuant to the section 300-815G, which was recently enacted. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is David Kenny. I'm an attorney for Snyder and Snyder, here tonight to represent the applicant RIC. The application is before the Zoning Board of Appeals for a use variance, but I believe this board has been referred the application for comments. We're meeting with the zoning board on Thursday, so we would respectfully request that this board issue its comments to the zoning board so that it'll have your comments at the meeting on Thursday.
Okay, I have, we have been presented with a draft memo which encapsulates at least our site planning concerns on this location. Do you have any comments on that draft resolution?
You mean the letter to the zoning board?
Same as what
Just
I
to
have.
go from us to the zoning board,
Right.
Right,
and we would adopt it and then send over as a memo.
yes.
No.
I like it.
Basically states that the planning board believes that battery energy storage systems are essential for our energy infrastructure. Applicant has argued that proving a hardship is not required for a variance because this provides a public necessity. Planning board has reviewed these systems with the utmost of caution, as they can be a problem or a danger to the public if not correctly installed, maintained, or decommissioned. While we have no issue with the proposed battery storage, I guess, itself, in the rare occurrence of a malfunctions, we are concerned about smoke emissions from a fire event that can potentially travel over the Taconic, which could be leading to the entire parkway closing, and also 132. And that could have a negative impact on the area for a significant length of time, so we do not support the variance based upon those reasons. And those are the site-specific reasons that we have
Well,
with this.
I absolutely agree with that, but don't we have a moratorium on,
No, we haven't. They passed. Sergio, the board outlawed, removed this use, am I right?
That is correct.
So it's
so
beyond.
in other words, beyond it, okay.
Yeah.
But I certainly agree with the draft.
That's why they're going for the variance, because
I
it's.
get it.
Correct. The applicant is seeking use variance. It is not a permitted use in the zone. But we would respectfully submit that we think being located near the Taconic is a benefit. The Taconic itself, there's lots of uses that are located up and down it. For instance, the Lowe's, that's also, if it would catch fire, that would also be an issue. But having a buffer between other residential uses that would be presented with the Taconic, that is a benefit. Having just near access to transportation for traffic around Route 6 as well as the Taconic, those are also benefits for its chosen location.
Have you ever seen one of these things on fire?
I have not personally seen one of these things on fire, but I have
You
represented.
know how they fight them is they let them burn out.
Absolutely, they let them burn out, and some of the way they do it now is some of the fires are only 4 hours, but with these exact components, that's going to be part of the review as part of the use variance. That's absolutely part of seeker review. This is not something anybody wants to move past. I think they're just the point of being located at this particular property near the Taconic. There are benefits, and there are other uses that could potentially catch fire near the Taconic.
Well, let me just clarify something in my own mind. If this use variance is granted by the zoning board, doesn't it not come back for site plan review here?
I believe that would be the case.
Okay. All right.
So we would have the last
Motion to send the memo?
dibs on it.
Any other comments?
No.
Make the motion.
Do you want a motion
Yeah.
to send the memo?
As drafted,
So
yeah.
moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. We'll get this out. All right, moving along. Number 8 on the agenda, EnviroGreen. This is a request for an amended site plan on property located at 1833 and 1875 East Main Street. Good evening.
Hello, everybody. The last time we were before you, we presented a plan amending, we wanted to amend the site plan approval to move the condenser units for the AC unit, ventilation units, and there are 2 condensers required for the indoor refrigeration and freezer. So we had discussed some different comments the last time, and what we've done at this point was prepared a plan showing all the units in one location. Let me just zoom in here for a second. So previously the units were separated, scattered. We've moved them all to one location. We fenced it in. We have pushed this curb line out, so now that there's 4 feet of operating space for access or anyone to walk around the units without stepping out into the drive-through.
That is a good one.
And basically, like I said, it condensed that. We've shown some landscaping to be done in these open areas on either side. Here are the 2 exit points from the 2 units in the building. And we've prepared some perspective views of how it's going to look when you're around the building. Now, this is a 4-foot high fence, and the fence that we were showing, hold on.
I'm not sure. It might be too small.
This was the fence that we were showing. It's an aluminum horizontal slatted fence with some gaps in it. And the heights shown on these perspectives what's going on here? Anyway, I've lost it, but anyway, the heights shown on these perspectives are a 4-foot fence. The top two and bottom right are a driver's height eye, and we took a SUV elevation on the height of eye, so that's the view you would have. The bottom left view shows how far the units will be below the top of the fence. Now, that fence can be made higher if we want to. We can make it 5 foot. We can make it 6 foot if you feel that's necessary.
Sit back there, I think 4 foot. I mean, to me, it looks good.
Anyway,
Joe, how high are the units that the fence is blocking?
they're like 38 inches high, I think is the highest.
So a 4-foot fence would block it off?
Right.
No need to go
you know,
higher.
if you walk by it and you could, you looked in, you can see the
Yeah, but if,
the units, but
for all intents and purposes, you won't see it from
correct.
a few feet away from it.
What kind of material is the fence? You have anything to show what it looks like, or
Yeah.
like a sample?
Yeah, I just did.
Oh, you didn't? I gotta change the batteries in my contacts. There it is.
That's the fence.
What's the building material?
The building material? The building material is clapboard, hardy plank.
As clapboard, right, not shingle or anything
Right,
like that?
right.
Okay. And is there, the only thing I would say is horizontal and horizontal, but the colors, you should probably try to coordinate.
Well, I will tell you this, it's gonna be a brown or a bronze color. So
Of
that,
Of the fence?
of the fence.
And
yeah.
the siding?
The siding is, more or less a beige type color.
Okay. Yeah, that makes it,
Does Abaca need to see that? Let them deal with the colors and stuff, then we're done.
Orange
Abaca
roof, it's
typically gets,
Duncan, right?
does look at colors and complementary colors as well. Obviously, with these types of colors, they're not clashing, but there's a contrast there between the dark of the fence and the light, more buff color of the building. Other than that, I think it's an attractive fence.
Why don't we let Abaca look at the colors, they can come back next week, next time around, we can be done. I don't see any problem. I mean, conceptually, how does the board feel about the change, going from onto the ground here?
No, the change is good.
Okay.
It's good for the project. Whether you wanna send it to Buck and back to us is up to
We
you.
have a month in between, maybe they could just see it and give us a memo.
How do you feel about it?
As long as there's an Abaca meeting between now and the next meeting, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Is there, Nancy?
Yes.
okay.
All right, so that's it. Go
Then
to
you'll
Buck,
come
come back to us.
Come
and
back
get it-
to us and we'll get it.
we'll get
Okay.
it locked up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Number 9 on the agenda is Mundrakis site plan, located at 3665 Barger Street. This is to build a 2,450 square foot commercial building on about a third of an acre in the C2. Good evening.
Andrew Turo, Keenan Bean for applicant Dino Mundrakis. We were here on March 24th, and you guys had concerns about the width of the driveway
Yeah.
and decreasing the impervious surfaces on the proposed building. I believe those have been accomplished, but I'd let the engineer speak to that.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Greg Cacciapoli, engineer on the project, 3665 Barger Street. I primarily did the site design for the project. What we really did was just work the parking spaces. We weren't able to really reduce the amount of impervious due to the need for parking. So we did try to create as much green space and propose landscaping where we could, and buffers and whatnot. But I believe we ended up with 13 parking spots, and we added some lighting design. We have a landscape plan. And that's pretty much it. Not much about the aesthetic of the site plan has changed since the last you saw it, but I believe we buttoned it up in terms of parking and what we were trying to achieve.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the board?
No.
I just have a quick one. When we were out on the site visit,
Yeah.
mention was made of possibly having access to some of the parking spaces at the funeral parlor. Should there be a need?
So the funeral home is owned by a different entity, so we're just not certain that could be
They were gonna
accomplished.
check that out. I guess there's a lease or whatever.
There is a lease, and I know the lease has a specific number of parking places in the lease, but we're certainly willing to speak to the lessee about that.
Okay.
You did mention that we might do a cut-through on the, you see where those first spaces in the corner?
Yeah, to go through to the other parking lot?
Funeral home is good business.
Okay.
Good business, funeral home.
Yeah.
People are dying to get in.
Yeah, the funeral home has a lot of spaces. I believe it's
People gotta get in.
122 spots, do you know?
25, 130.
Yeah, which we doubt that they ever fill up, hopefully. So we believe
Once
we
in a
can
while.
make that deal with the lessee if we need to.
Okay, so you dropped the number of spaces somewhat, right? I think there were 17 originally?
Correct.
And now you're down to 13?
Correct.
Okay. John, anything?
No, I think the layout looks like it fits on the site. It seems as though it works. Looks like the circulation is good, and nothing seems to me to be operationally sort of, clunky, if you will. So looks workable.
All right, so we haven't done any public comment on this yet, have we?
No, you can set up for that.
We need to do an informational and a public hearing?
Yes, did we do information? No. No,
I
you
don't
can set
see
up
it.
for information.
Why don't we do that? Can we do them together?
The purpose of the informational is to get it out to the public as early as possible so they know that there's a project, so that when a lot of folks come to public hearings and feel as though it's a done deal, it's been looked at, how can you listen to my commentary right now? So that was the intent of the public informational hearing.
Well, let's set that up.
Set it up.
Okay, we can do that in October.
Okay.
All right, so we'll have the first of the two public hearings in October, and then we'll probably do the next one pretty quick after that.
And perhaps you could check into some sort of license agreement with the funeral parlor. That was a diner at one point. I remember that.
I remember when that was built.
Yeah.
Do they require additional parking, or is that just a nice to have? I mean, this is,
For the,
it's comply, I mean, does the current parking comply, or do they need?
or
No, for this property.
this complies.
Yeah,
It complies.
No, only because there's no way you could park on that street.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
We'll see you next month. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is that old man Andrugas?
I'm not sure, but Jack Goldstein had that.
Should be fun.
I remember that.
I
Anyway,
know.
You were there for that too? Number 10 on our agenda tonight is the Nantucket Sound Sons LLC application for an amended site plan. This property is located on 385 Kear Street. We previously approved this site plan on August 9th, 2021. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. As the owner of 385 Kear Street, I have to say to you guys, I apologize for the delay on basically in our process, but I had some family issue, and again, I apologize for the delay. So Joe Thompson will basically present
Okay.
case. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Joseph Thompson, architect for the project. We were asked to come before the board as a matter of an update and to try to work on closing out the project. To my knowledge, there's two outstanding items. The building's now fully occupied. It's been completed. Marcel did a beautiful job on finishing the grounds, the landscaping, the screening, and bringing the details of the project together. But the two outstanding items, as I'm aware, are the landscaping bond, which the owner's prepared to settle that with the planning department. He has quotes that he'll provide to the planning department, so we can hopefully come to a resolution on getting that item resolved and closed out. And the second was a decision that was made with regard to condensing units that are on a ground pad on the building. I'd like to bring up some images of the completed property and see if the board will entertain allowing us to request an amendment and to reconsider one last time on that issue. I'm having a bit of difficulty logging in with the code. I'm gonna try one more time.
While you're working on the technical end of things, I would just like to get the status of this from the town's perspective in terms of what has been issued, what conditions are on this property, and things of that sort.
All the final COs have been issued, but they did submit bonding. So there's, I think it's $20,000 or $30,000 bond, which covers some of the tree mitigation, which is off-site. It's up at the trailhead
Right.
on Baldwin, and it covers, you know, this issue with the condensing units, because that was not according to the site plan. So, but the bonding, you know, however you work out the condensing units, you still have the issue with getting the tree mitigation done. It's not the time of the year to do it, so you'll have to revisit the bond. They're going to submit their latest estimates for doing that work, and the bond may have to be revised.
John, was this issue raised in May of '24? It looks like they were talking about changing it way back then.
I think
And-
so.
Yeah, and it wasn't changed then. Is this a duplicate request a year and a half later?
The
Are we talking about the landscaping?
I'm sorry?
the
I'm
landscaping
talking
site
about the
plan?
condenser
The
issue.
condenser.
That unit, that issue was never really resolved. So there was bonding put in place so that they could get their CO, but the bonding was there to bring
To
them
move it
back
to
to
the
make,
roof?
to make sure this gets resolved. So either
The
it
bond
goes,
is sufficient to move it to the roof?
that I don't know. We didn't get an estimate for that.
What's the bond for?
Trees, I think.
Well, part of the bond is for the tree mitigation. The other part of the bond is to see to it that they came back and finished the site plan issue, which is the condensing units. So that was never, right now, the site plan is in violation of itself.
Oh.
So,
So as further detail on that, with the conversations that happened last year, we were asked to evaluate a number of criteria with the condensers. First was visual impact, so we screened those condensers. Oh, can I hear?
Yeah,
Sorry.
better.
Speak up. First was the visual impact of the condensers. We created a screened fenced-in enclosure that has an opaque background to ensure the condensers couldn't be seen. Second criteria that we evaluated was the noise. These condensers are quiet units. They operate under 50 decibels. We had a site visit with several planning board members to evaluate it. There's no impact as far as detrimental effect of the noise of the condensers because they're less than the volume of the ambient noise on the road. And so we're asking the board to look at the finished product and potentially reconsider the decision on that. This is the site as it currently exists. These are current photos. And the area in question is tucked back behind this new structure that's been created by the restaurant tenant, further diminishing the effect of that enclosure on the site. And this is the enclosure itself. The landscaping is just starting to mature. It's only a year old, but it's already infilling from where it was last year. And so it's this small area that's about 8 feet wide behind these two trees that I'm circling on the screen right now. It's very limited impact visually. And frankly, if the units were to go to the roof, we would still need that fence for fall protection. So I don't know that it materially changes the site. So what we're asking the board to consider one last time, and if the answer is no, we understand, is to evaluate the hardship for the applicant. It'd be tremendously costly to move those units up to the roof and also more difficult to maintain. Where they're currently down below, it's an ideal situation for easy access rather than being up on the roof where a crane would be needed to take the units on and off. So not that it can't be done, but that hardship, that cost against what the potential benefit would be, which I'm having a hard time quantifying. If it's not noise, if the units are operating fine and they meet the installation criteria, and the visual
Did you
impact.
create the hardship by putting it on
It
the
was-
ground as opposed to on the roof?
It was a mistake in the process. So what happened is the HVAC contractor filed a permit with a diagram that showed those units on the ground. It was permitted, the work proceeded. It wasn't in accordance with the site plan. Unfortunately, the oversight, we weren't privy to that knowledge as it was happening. So it did happen. So it was in contrary to site plan. So in principle, the board has the authority to make them move the units. You do have that authority. But what I would ask is to weigh that hardship. It's a tremendous hardship. We'd have to destructively remove these units, crane them to the roof, reroute them to the interior units of a finished space, but I don't see the material benefit.
So let me just clarify that question that Judy asked. I want to clarify your answer. You're basically saying that a building permit was pulled and issued for the ground mount
Mechanical
those
permit, correct.
pieces of equipment,
Now,
notwithstanding what our site plan.
correct, separate from that.
So it's not that these pieces of equipment were installed by the owner regardless of a building permit and in contravention of site. So there's some town involvement in
This wasn't an
kind of
intentional.
I understand,
Yeah.
but I'm just trying to piece together the
Good
sequence of
analogies.
events here.
You're right.
So because our initial reaction, at least mine, was premised on the fact that the builder, the owner, departed from the site plan, and we're now being asked to permit that to continue. But it's not, there was an additional step in there where the town had some involvement in issuing this, not looking at the site plan perhaps. There was some failure in the building department side to
I
review
have
this.
to take full responsibility for that, because I understand building department.
Speaking to the mic,
I have to
there may
take,
be two people
I'm sorry
watching.
about that. I have to take full responsibility for that as the owner.
Yeah.
My HVAC contractor is basically submit the plans to building department. We got the permit.
I get it.
Again, I will take full responsibility. It's not their fault. It's my fault because it was my first project doing in Yorktown. And I didn't have knowledge basically that I have to go to planning board to get an approval based on the design that we submitted to the building department. And again, I'll take full responsibility. It's not their fault. And I mean, I don't know what else to say, but I cannot blame them. So.
So what?
Look, I go by there all the time. It's a great looking project.
Thank you.
And I'm sure there's many times in the town where somebody has deviated from the site plan and got away with it. So I don't think the town, because the town was involved in the permit, I don't think we should penalize the applicant for part of the problem.
We appreciate that. If we thought that this was a substantial detriment to the finished product on that site, we wouldn't be here before again. This another request on behalf of the applicant, but we appreciate that.
So is this scenario essentially correct, the way we're hearing it, that there was a building permit issued notwithstanding our site plan?
There was a mechanical construction permit issued
Okay.
by the building permit. I'm gonna be as,
For what?
for,
Put it on the roof or to put it on the ground?
to put it on the ground. I don't know to what extent, I'm sure Joe could provide us with the details, and he may have already, I haven't looked in the file, but I don't know to what extent there was a sketch there at the time. I don't know. I think there was, as I
Sketch of
recall.
what?
Where the
They want.
mechanical units were offered by the mechanical contractor, okay, which was deviating from the site plan. It was not caught by the reviewer, apparently.
Or the applicant?
It wasn't caught by the town, the
Yes.
building department. And it wouldn't be the first time that the building department has circumvented our.
Well, everybody makes mistakes, but obviously this was an issue before the approvals were in place.
Yeah, but he wasn't part of the mistake. The mistake is on the town to give him the final
Oh,
approval.
he just said he was responsible.
Well,
No, this wasn't before
this was never before us.
24?
we approved this way before that.
Okay.
The site plan
And he
approval was
came
in
back in
place
24?
before they submitted for any building department permits, which is the law, the zoning code.
the building department should have reviewed the site plan, right?
And then they could have bounced them back
And
here.
then they could have said, well, no, right, they could have,
That would have been
Went
the
further.
ideal situation.
all right, so the building department is, the way I see it, is responsible
Okay.
for this problem.
We're not looking to cast blame. I
No, but-
think the
No,
decision can
but
be made.
Yeah.
Look,
You're,
based
you're
on the
asking
merits
us
of
to reconsider, and we're trying to explore,
Trying
we're
to-
really exploring
For
the
the third
reasons why
time.
we did it. But the
Thank you.
reasons why we came to the first conclusion that you want us to, change is, is what you're talking about. What do you?
John, would we have anything in the town records of what was submitted by the mechanical or the mechanical company to?
Yeah, we could
Get that-
obtain that if we don't have it in our files, yeah.
And I'm curious as to what it would be other than the site plan, because the site plan should be the guiding document overall, so.
Apparently, in some fashion, it was showing a modification from installing them on the roof to this area that it's been installed.
Got it.
That's as I understand it. And again, it's been going on a while. I don't recall what exactly that we have in our file. But we can look, and if we don't have it, I can ask Joe to help us get it, or I can ask the building department.
Want to do that?
Well, it'd be good to understand how.
I think so.
so how would that change your opinion? It wouldn't change mine.
Well, it would influence mine a little bit because we can't have an applicant just disregard the site plan.
Well,
Now, if somebody on town site overlooked something or proved something that's outside of that, then we have some culpability
Yeah, but
ourselves.
like we've been saying, the applicant went to the building department took whatever mechanical papers he got from the mechanical, and he approved it.
I think Bob is just saying, let's verify that.
Oh,
Scenario,
you want
right?
that, it would
Yeah.
just be a little.
Yeah.
We do.
Because again, there was a vote a year ago, a little over a year ago now, that the site plan as submitted should control it. And so they are out of compliance currently. And so that's what we have to, in essence, overlook.
You want to do that?
I think that's.
What kind of material was used to screen everything?
So there's an aluminum fence. It's nicely detailed, decorative, and it has an opaque background. I have a photo I can pull up. And I also have, after I pull up that photo, I have the sketch that was provided to us that was associated with the mechanical permit. I can also pull up in a moment here. I think I got disconnected one more time. Sorry.
Review the
I'd
documents.
want to hear a lot more about it, otherwise you're sort of establishing a precedent where an
Yeah, I know, I
applicant
don't
can
like that.
disregard the
Well, that's-
site plan and maybe make it through the building department.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have insurance for that stuff.
Here we are. So this is the hand sketch the mechanical contractor had with the mechanical permit application, where basically it looks like they whited out a portion of the site plan and, just very simply depict, 9 units on the ground.
Oh, that's.
Is this what was submitted with the mechanical?
That's my understanding, yes. Yeah.
Request, application?
Yep, this was
Can
it.
you read the note
So
that?
That doesn't help.
That's not the applicant.
Can you read that note?
That's the,
That
No,
note,
he's saying they filed it,
zoom in.
they altered
It
it.
says AC from 1 to 9, back to back, 24 inches side to side, 4 inches as per manufacturer
I
requirements.
want to see that document.
I do too.
I'd like to see what was submitted.
Sure.
who
I would-
submitted, who
You could
submitted
probably
this?
have that direct from the town's
Right,
files
the
rather than
contract.
through us, but
The
this is the
contract.
document.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, that alleviates the applicant from
No,
full
no,
responsibility.
no, the contractor is the applicant.
He hired the contractor.
It's their contract.
But he didn't file, the applicant did not file the papers, the mechanical, from what I understand, right?
Correct. The mechanical
Mechanical
contractor
contractor
was
filed-
hired by the owner who self-performed the development, and that contractor filed that permit.
I know the process, I was a developer myself, so
why
once
don't
you
we-
tell the guy, go, you're out of it, until you get your permit and you start work.
I would suggest, I'd like to see the documents
I
that
would
were
too.
filed.
I would
And
absolutely.
then we'll revisit this one more time after we get that,
Maybe
okay?
get some correspondence from whoever issued the permit in the building
Well,
department.
we can get
too.
the file,
Yeah, let's get it.
okay.
And maybe you could get the mechanical contractor to give you a letter of, what do you wanna call it, a letter of, myself,
Via culpa.
mea culpa, good, thank you. Well, if he filed the paperwork, then he should be responsible for what he filed. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I know, but then there's the other half of the, let's take a look.
Let's see the
I do have
paperwork.
one other question for you, which is, you guys have stated, and if I'm reading the notes correctly, that those units would not fit on the roof now. Because the rooftop is now occupied by some exhaust fans and so forth?
The rooftop does have some exhaust equipment from the restaurants, so that generates more heat. So that's less ideal of a situation. Can they physically fit? They could,
Okay.
but it's not an ideal
Okay.
situation. Have to move them.
All right,
This is the fence Mr. Esposito had requested to see photograph of. Basically, it's an aluminum fence with a decorative detail at the top that has an opaque background that you can't see through. So these units, again, not visible from the street, not visible from close distance. And a year into it, the landscaping has started, the screening is starting to function as planned. It's starting to infill. So again, the visual impact is almost negligible.
again, you know, if we were reviewing this at the outset with that proposal, we wouldn't have these same issues. This is a little different than that, so no one's disputing, the fence, what it looks like, the effect of it, but we've got these other overriding concerns. Okay, so we're gonna come back to that, we'll get the file from buildings, see what was done and how, and then
Oh, thank you.
consider it one
We
more
appreciate you
time.
hearing this again. Appreciate the consideration on this. So
Okay,
have a good evening.
Thank you.
you're welcome. Last two items are two town board referrals. Number 11 is at 436 East Main Street. A proposal to construct a new house, driveway, septic, drainage detention system on 1.13 acres in R110. You have the next one too?
Yes.
Okay. We don't have that one on Hunter Brook, huh? Isn't there something on Hunter Brook Road where that tree farm is?
Yeah, that's in the court.
In court, not before zoning? Oh, there's some appeal that was filed.
There may have been, yeah, but that wasn't referred.
What happened?
Okay. There's a project on Hunter Brook Road that there's an agricultural tree farm operation going on, and there's some question about the legality of that. So I just wondered if we were gonna get that. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Hello again. So this project, I'm representing Frank Criollo.
Mhm.
He's proposing to build a new home on a lot that was formerly had a residence on it that I believe burned down or fell down, one of the two. Now the site, I showed outlined in red there, it's a little over an acre. The address is 236 East Main.
436.
I'm sorry, 436 East Main, but it actually also fronts on Nelson Avenue, which is up at the top there.
Oh.
So to give you a, oh, that's not it.
It's gonna be accessed off Nelson.
But it's going to be access off of Nelson. So this is the site as it was several years ago, like 10 years ago. As you can see, it had a house and a pool on it. I don't know why my mouse is not showing up, but anyway, that's Wood Street going up to the right, and you have that house right on the corner. It's the one up behind it. You could see the pool, that bright blue rectangle.
Was the original house accessed from East Main?
You know, John, it's really hard to tell from this, but I believe it was accessed from this property on the corner, because it seems as if the property is shared.
Which property?
You could see there's a boat in the back. It just
On
looks
Wood
like it
Street?
was all one.
From Wood Street property?
Yes, from the Wood Street property.
I don't believe this was ever accessed off of East Main. I've never seen anything there.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out. I tried to look back in some of the old aerials. I couldn't figure out where it was coming from.
And it's been demolished or whatever
It's gone.
it is for,
Yeah, it's-
for a long time?
It's totally knocked
Years?
down.
For years?
I couldn't tell you how long. I know it looks like it's been down for a while.
Is there an original septic field or system?
Probably. Yeah.
Somewhere, right?
Yeah. We believe it's out in the rear because that's where we could see. So the foundation is still there. It's an old stone foundation. It's still in place. So we could tell where all the plumbing was.
Is all the
So
rubble
it
gone?
was out in the back.
Like it's clean? The site's clean? The site's clean or the rubble is still there? I'm not familiar.
No, he's cleaned that up for the most part. That does need a little more.
Right, but
cleaning up the
the
debris,
main
but for the
structure
most
is
part,
gone. I mean, like all its.
most of that's all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty clear site.
Yeah, I'm just trying to visualize it. It's just.
So
I was up there a week and a half ago.
yeah, so as I stated.
So what issues do we have to consider?
Well, this is on referral to you. It's before the town board for a tree permit, an excavation permit, stormwater permit, right? So you could see here, we're coming off of Nelson Avenue. Here's the proposed residence. We've got a 4-foot retaining wall along this edge here where, and it'll have a walkout basement and there'll be a deck off the first floor, the main floor. We already have an approval from the health department for a septic system in this location here. And for stormwater, what we're proposing to do is use the foundation of the existing original building. It's fairly intact, it needs some work, but we're gonna create a rain garden out of it and use that for our detention, our stormwater detention. There's 23 trees that are coming down as a result, 11 of which are invasive or non-native trees, and we're proposing to plant 23 new trees. The Conservation Board would like to see 2 to 2.5 inch caliper, a mix of oaks and maples, and we show them on the next plan.
So you have, how many trees coming out? 23?
23.
And 11 are invasive?
Correct.
So that's 12? 12? 12 are regulated.
Right.
Does the formula come up to what you're doing?
We didn't run the formula, John.
'Cause
I know we have to do that. Honestly,
all I'm cutting
Yeah.
to the chase on is that if you're going to only plant trees, then you gotta do the formula,
Okay,
because that's in the regulation.
okay.
If you're going to offer some other stuff, a combination, then it can be the package that the town board determines is adequate, that's all.
Okay, well, we'll run that, and
I don't see any planning issues with developing this site other than the technical constraints of the site itself. In other words, the steep slope that's on the south side of it.
right,
Yeah.
and we're managing that pretty good with our grading, with our retaining wall.
And, I mean, that's all I have. Anybody else? Okay. So we should send a memo back saying no planning issues, but.
Exactly.
Do you want us,
She
do
should
you
be
want us to
addressed.
say anything about the tree mitigation or anything of
Yeah,
that, in that
you
regard?
can remind them of that.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. Okay?
Good.
All right. Let's see. Number 12. This is also a town board referral, Tanto Irrigation. Front Street, Edgewood Street. Right over there.
So, I don't know if you'll remember, but this was approved under transitional zone by the applicant and owner was George Roberta.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And it was 2 building, I'm joking to his presentation, I don't wanna,
So,
I don't wanna
so
step on your toes.
That's the history, we need that history.
So this is located on Front Street. I do have, would you like to see an aerial of where it's located? I think I do have that. So that's a site, it's on Front Street, it's in the area of the UPS. Richard Place in the car wash is up the page from this. And so as John was stating, the property has been under the current owner, who's Mr. Roberta, has been zone transitional. And as you are aware, with the transitional zone, the site plan sets the standards, the approved site plan sets the standards for that particular piece of property, right? So now we're asking to amend that for a new use. So this is the approved site plan. It was approved with 2 buildings on it. The building on the north side, this one here, was a single story. It's about 2,100 square feet of retail or any commercial space. This building on the right side of the page, or to the south, was a footprint of 5,400 square feet. The first floor would have been commercial or retail space, and the second floor would have been 5 residential apartment units. Has 3 access points, 1, 2, actually this is an exit point over here, but 2 access points here. The driveway came up, and you could either went out behind the 1-story building. To the left you have the trash enclosure. Along the back property line is a retaining wall, and it would have been a 6-foot-high stockade fence and tree plantings as vegetation between the residential neighbors that are to the rear. The driveway rises up to the level of the second floor in the back here. You can see there's some parking spaces up here, and loops back out. This plaza area in here, this turnaround, is within the town right-of-way, and a license agreement was worked out with the owner in order to make those, to have that plaza area in the town right-of-way.
Joe, would you mind, could you zoom into that area?
Yeah. You mean the plaza area? The whole site?
No, let's see how that looks. So that area right there,
Yeah.
so that's in the town right away, and that gives access to other properties that would normally, or were originally planned to be accessed from Edgewood,
Right.
which is a paper road. So it preserves the ability to provide that.
What exactly you're asking the town to change here?
Okay, so this is the currently approved site plan.
Okay.
Right? Oh, I should include that, okay. So, an amendment, the contract vendee is Tanto Irrigation. They're currently headquartered in Elmsford, and they look to change their location to a bigger area, bigger space, which is this site here. So they're a large irrigation company. They do large-scale projects, fields, golf courses, stadiums, more or less, more of a higher commercial grade irrigation contractor. So what they would like to do is eliminate the 1-story, 2,100 square foot building, fence that area in with properly screen fencing with slats or whatever type of fencing we decide on at the end of the day. The existing building will be maintained in the same footprint that was approved with the current site plan. The north side or the left side of the building is going to be a 2-story maintenance and repair shop for their equipment. The right side would have storage on the first floor and offices on the second floor. The fenced-in area would be storage for equipment, materials, and vehicles. The overall footprint is the same. We're not going beyond what was originally approved. We will still have the retaining wall and screening on the back side of the property. There were 2 trash enclosures, that's been consolidated to one now, and it's located more in the central part of the site right here. And the stormwater management aspect of this is the same. That's not changing because we still have the same amount of impervious area. We actually are a little bit less as far as impervious area goes.
Is the equipment yard going to be paved?
Yes,
It is, okay.
yes. We have a DEP approval on the original site plan. We will ask them to amend their approval, but the approval's still standing and it shouldn't be any issue because it's it's the same amount of impervious area and the same amount of disturbance.
What's the zoning?
It would still stay transitional, but the
What's the underlying zone?
the underlying zone is I-1 industrial.
I. So is this use permitted in the I?
It is.
Would there be a site plan coming back in on, with the changes or no?
It's gotta come back to us.
This would be the
Again,
site.
what's the,
Mhm.
what's the town's board's involvement in this, I still don't quite get.
Well,
It's-
they did it under, this is a standing approval under the transitional zone, which is the town board.
Okay.
So, and there was a host
They
of
did the
reasons.
site plan?
What?
They did the site plan?
They asked you to do the site plan because if you look at the this is one of the unusual ones. If you look at the configuration of the original lot, there was a lot of planning issues of how to get the things to work.
Yeah, I
And so
remember some of that.
you walked it through that and, cited this building, cited the second building, the parking and how that worked, how it got up and around to the second story up behind the building, which is a story higher. And then also, you figured out how to deal with this paper road. So, a lot of the front of the building is in town ownership, so
So
now.
they basically referring this new one to us for the
So
same.
now they're referring it to you not to do an actual approval, but your commentary, because it's really just drawing down from what the impacts were before.
Okay.
You're removing a building and making a storage yard. The only thing that I would say that I see that I think is a planning issue is how they are changing the front and how that still provides access for the properties that would be on the paper road. And it looks like they have like a potential double neck, driveway coming in there, and I'm not so sure that's necessarily the best way to do it. In
Yeah, so what-
particular, since it's town-owned land there.
Yeah, so what we've done is, if you recall, we had that loop going through here. So now we just have straight parking spaces. And then we show another potential entry drive for the property next door if it were to be developed. That property, by the way, is zone R120.
But you could potentially, and there may be more than one property that needs to get access from that paper road, so I think you should look at the grading situation to help you configure the future road potentially. And it may just be better to bring it straight in the event that someone does come up there and then, make a left-hand turn to the roadway, rather than having the double exit next to one another.
What do you mean by straight in, John?
It would travel, I'm gonna call west, to the left. It would travel straight west and connect to what looks like your driveway, but is really on the town-owned property.
So you mean tie in like here,
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could look at that.
This way, it's one curb cut, it just
Right.
seems to make a little bit
Yeah,
more
we could
sense.
look at that.
And the grading, I'm not sure how the grading works with, moving down this way. So I don't even, may wanna look at that.
Okay,
It does go up the hill there.
yeah, we could look at that.
Did you say that adjacent property is R120?
Yes, it's either R120 or R1 or R10.
There are,
That's residential.
there are
Same.
residential
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, there's one guy has a house there.
Yeah. So the issue has, yeah,
I
the issue,
know, it's there still. My God.
the issue with that site has always been the access. I've been approached a few times on trying to access that property, and it's always been because there's a paper road there, so to get to those lots, you have to build a town road. And it was never considered feasible to build a town road to just get to one property. I'm not saying there is another property that could have benefited, but I was only dealing with the one.
Got it.
with the one
And those inquiries, because I've had some too, were related to a more commercial or industrial use, right? Not a residential use.
Going back, I've had
Both.
residential, more recently, a commercial use.
What's next? Get some of those modifications before us? More
Well,
detail?
if I can develop a memo,
Okay.
when's it coming back to the board?
I'm not sure when it's scored, when it's scheduled for the town board.
So in the memo,
Yeah.
we can ask for the modifications, which you can necessarily get beforehand, but it will go to the town board,
Okay.
asking for that level of detail if you want to see
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Any comment, any problem with that?
No problem.
Okay.
Shoot out the memo.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's it. Thank you.
thank you.
Any other business? Motion to, I think we're done, right? Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Close, whatever. Thank you very much.